Tyrese Maxey might not be in the race for face of the league, but he made the Knicks fans go home sad last night, and that's good enough for me.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios.
The man your man could smell.
Theo Dorsey is theoretically speaking.
But are you a different animal and the same beast?
What does that mean, Kobe Bryant?
Streaming live on YouTube, here's Theo Dorsey.
What a wonderful hump day it is here on Theoretically Speaking. It's your guy, Theo Dorsey. Good people, I'm excited today. C-Cat on the ones and twos on the other side of the glass here at the Square Studios. And what I saw last night, and none of us expected it, going into last night, I assumed both the Bucks and the Sixers would go out with a whimper. I thought both of those series would end. I was incredibly wrong because what ended up happening with the Philadelphia 76ers, who were down by 6 points with less than 30 seconds to go. I actually sent off a tweet. I sent off a Grim Reaper tweet telling Philly fans, I think it's about that time. And I felt justified in sending that tweet off, especially because the last time we saw you guys at home, you had your big man and your reigning MVP calling out Philadelphia 76ers fans, which I think is a telltale sign that you're waving the white flag, that you're giving up, because now you're pointing the finger and blaming fans, that you have Knicks fans infiltrating your arena and chanting F Joel Embiid, like that's what you resort to, Embiid. And then you come back to the Garden, Madison Square Garden. The Knicks had the Sixers on the ropes. I thought it was dead and done, but what I didn't account for in this landscape of the NBA, where we talked about it all day yesterday, Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, LeBron James, no longer in the playoffs, first time since 2005. It is an area for opportunity. Where there is opportunity, you have players that step up to the mantle, and Tyrese Maxey, the guard out of Kentucky, the man who won Most Improved, and y'all were hating on him for it, averaging over 25 a game. He looks like a budding superstar. Tyrese Maxey, he hits the three-pointer on Mitchell Robinson, a 4-point play to close the gap to 2. Josh Hart, who is the face of the Knicks right now, he's the battery of that team. He is like the culture driver for the New York Knicks, the way he hustles and crashes the boards and always makes the right play. He splits the free throws, and then Tyrese Maxey comes down the court again. Knicks down 3, or excuse me, Sixers down 3, and Maxey on the high screen and roll with Joel Embiid drains a three-pointer from Steph Curry land. And I mean, that shot, when that shot went in, C-Cat, it, to me, you know, I'm sitting there in my outdoor, in my courtyard. It's beautiful. We call it the Bali Bungalow. It has a great viewing setup. I had the TV on in the living room. I had the TV on in the courtyard. I like sitting outside sometimes at night as I'm getting my work done because it's a good flow. It's warm. It's also nice because my courtyard is screened in. So I don't have to worry about any bugs or any animals sneaking up on me. As I'm chilling in my courtyard, I'm actually editing Somerset Academy flag football highlights. Which, C-Cat, I don't like to speak in high hyperbole about high school athletes, but Somerset Academy flag football, one of the top teams in the state. They're vying for a state championship right now, and I'm not going hyperbole. But their quarterback, who is a freshman, her name is Ava. I'm just going to say it, shades of Patrick Mahomes.
Whoa.
Shades of, I'm not saying she's that good. I'm just saying watching her play and the way that she moves and how unsackable she is. She moves around so well. Just shades of Patrick Mahomes. And if you don't believe me, hop on YouTube right now. If you're already watching us on @TheoSpeaking on YouTube, which we do stream every day, stay locked in here. But maybe open up another tab and hop on YouTube.com. Go to ESPN West Palm. Check out ESPN West Palm Play and the Somerset Academy flag football highlights from their win last night. I'm telling you, their quarterback, she's got an arm. She's one of the best in the state, maybe even in the nation. Shades of Patrick Mahomes. And I'm a Chiefs fan.
So you're editing that tape, and this is all going down in the background?
Yes. I'm sorry. I got sidetracked because I started thinking about those highlights again. I'm editing the tape. This is going on in the background. Tyrese Maxey is sinking some of the biggest shots. I mean, one of the greatest playoff performances that we have seen in Madison Square Garden in recent time. That's not hyperbole in itself. 46 points. the Sixers were on the brink of elimination, and Tyrese Maxey sinking that second three-pointer to bring it to overtime, and the Sixers eventually winning 112-106, getting the victory, staving off elimination, forcing a Game 6 at Madison Square Garden. That moment right there, I mean, I talked about hyperbole a little bit with the flag football quarterback. Well, it's got some people getting into a bit of a hyperbolic statement themselves. You know me. My stance in the NBA right now is, now that there's that gaping hole with LeBron James going into the twilight of his career and Steph Curry and KD seeming like that there's no championship in their near future, there's an opening for face of the NBA right now. My opinion, it's really an open and shut case. Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves will be the next face of the NBA, and we're going to see that this playoffs. We're going to see that this postseason paying out. But on Get Up this morning, a basketball voice who I respect, especially more than my own, but more than most people in the nation right now, Andrea Carter, she saw that performance from Tyrese Maxey, 7 points in the last 30 seconds, and then she got a little hyperbolic on Get Up.
Tyrese Maxey has to be in the conversation for future face of the league. Who have we been talking about? Anthony Edwards. People have talked about Victor Wembanyama.
Chet.
All of that is great. Yeah, Chet. There are so many young guys,
Chet.
and that's great. Tyrese Maxey has to be in the conversation. 50-point performances. People weren't talking about him potentially being the face of the league. This performance, when they needed it, what do you say after the game? Mandatory. This performance in the Garden, where you put the team on his back, the fourth quarter performance, especially with the way Embiid struggled and the way Tyrese Maxey stepped up, he has to be in the conversation for face of the league, period.
He's not. He's not. And I hate to rain on the parade of Sixers fans, even though Sixers fans, I got something coming for you. Not even being a troll, but y'all are in the spotlight right now for all of the wrong reasons, so I'm coming at you all very soon. Stay locked in. You're going to want to hear that. But Tyrese Maxey, he's on the team with the reigning MVP in Joel Embiid. Embiid is a bit hobbled right now. He didn't look great last night. He had 9 turnovers, though he did turn in a triple-double in the win. He made some great defensive stops. This hole that opened up for Maxey to fill it worked out entirely perfectly, not just for the Sixers, but for the growth of Tyrese Maxey. He's not trumping Anthony Edwards on that list. I don't even know if he's the best former Kentucky Calipari guard right now, because you got a guy like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are also in the second round right now. Maxey still got some work to do out there against the New York Knicks. But what I will say is Tyrese Maxey, and the run that he could potentially go on right now, it's giving me some shades of what Dwayne Wade did for the Miami Heat. Not in the Big Three era. I'm talking about Young Flash. Back in 2006, when he had the guy that's really the center of the franchise at that point, Shaquille O'Neal, who was supposed to be the star, who kind of opened up the door for Wade in that postseason to take hold. The Miami Heat were down 0-2 to the Mavericks. Dwayne Wade's finals performance will go down in history. I don't want to hear about the ghost fouls or the league. Oh, there's all these conspiracy theories about how, he didn't get hacked on that play. And Dwayne Wade took the Heat and put them on his back in that playoff run. And I more so like the Tyrese Maxey comp to young D Wade than I do about saying he might be the future face of the NBA. And to support that, I actually went and looked up, well, what were Wade's numbers in that postseason, in the entire 2006 postseason that led to the NBA championship for the Miami Heat? Dwayne Wade averaged 28 points, 6 rebounds, and 5.7 assists. That was through 23 games in the 06 playoffs. Not just that finals run against the Mavericks, but the whole playoffs. At 24 years old, Dwayne Wade averaged 28, 6 rebounds, and 5.7 assists. And right now in these playoffs, when the Sixers need him most, when it's must-win territory right now, and if the Sixers lose at Wells Fargo in Game 6, it's over and done, and we can stop having this conversation. But right now, as it stands, 5 games in, Tyrese Maxey, 32 points, 5 assists, 7 rebounds. Actually, I flipped that. 5 rebounds, 7 assists through 5 games. He's 23 years old. And this is why I'm so excited about right now, this era that we're entering right now in the NBA, is because a guy like me who just loves to see elite level play in so many different ways, right, in so many different areas and pockets of the world, there's an opportunity for guys to make a name for themselves like there hasn't been in the years of past. Because now we are forced to not talk about the LeBrons and the KDs and the Steph Currys of the world, and we're forced to give a platform to some of these guys that are still burgeoning, still trying to find their way, blossoming in their young NBA careers. And in that conversation with Anthony Edwards and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Luka Doncic, maybe Tyrese Maxey can try and peek his head through it, but they're going to have to at least close out the deal against the Knicks in this series, in this opening round. And from what I'm seeing from Sixers fans right now and what I'm seeing happen with the Philadelphia 76ers, I'm a little bit worrisome about Game 6. C-Cat, I don't know if you saw this, but obviously we can actually go back to understand what's happening for Game 6 in Sixers-Knicks. Let's go back to Game 4 after the Knicks ran into Wells Fargo, got away with the win, and through that game, you had an infiltration of Knicks fans all through Wells Fargo out in Philadelphia, one of the towns that pride itself on having some of the most rabid and aggressive and passionate fans in the nation. They let Knicks fans take over their building, and they had their former MVP, Joel Embiid, talking like this after the game.
Kind of pisses me off, especially because Philly is considered a sports town. So, they've always shown up, and I don't think that should happen. It's not okay.
At a loss for words. At a loss for words for how just decrepit, how the ability to let a team in a playoff series, in playoff basketball, the ability to let another team's fan base take over your arena, walk into your trap and take over your trap. That's what Embiid was reacting to there. And what I see today, this headline right here, it sums it up pretty solidly for me to continue to maybe start clowning Philadelphia sports fans. Sixers ownership and Michael Rubin are teaming up to buy 2,000 Game 6 tickets for Philly fans. And they are trying to code it up and act like this is to we're going to give it to, I think it says here that these tickets are going to go to, charitable organizations, first responders, healthcare professionals. And I love those folks. Those are the folks we need in this society to help things churn along. So kudos to them for getting those tickets. But let's not mistake this for some charitable act that they're joining up the Avengers in the town of Philadelphia right now to get Wells Fargo Center packed with more Sixers fans. This isn't a charitable act. This is a direct response to knowing the Sixers, if they don't have that fan base, that home crowd roaring them on in Game 6, they are absolutely terrified of what might happen because the Knicks have already showed us they can do it once, and there's a chance they might still do it again, and they are covering all of their bases. You got your best player on the team calling the team out, calling the fans out, and now you got Dawn Staley, who's a Philly native, but coach of the South Carolina women's basketball team, tweeting out, y'all, please don't sell y'all's tickets. Please don't sell y'all's tickets. Please just use the tickets that you have and pull up to the arena and cheer our Sixers on. I think with all of this that's going on, first and foremost, Philly fans will be clowning South Florida fans if this was the type of response that was put out in South Florida, in Miami, ahead of a playoff game, C-Cat. Like, think about Heat fans, Dolphins fans, Hurricanes fans, they get clowned so often for leaving early, showing up late. If this was happening during the playoffs, we wouldn't hear the end of it, C-Cat.
Yeah, I don't understand why this is happening. Like, Philadelphia prides themselves on being the difference in the home court advantage. They had a pretty good home court advantage in the entire Embiid era. And what's happening in 2024?
Well, I guess the process has changed. And it looks like right now the process for them is if you can't beat them, buy up the tickets and give them away. Buy up the tickets from the fans who are going to sell it off to Knicks fans and give them to hopefully Philly fans. And if I'm a Knicks fan right now, I am doing anything in my possibility, anything that's whatever I can do to somehow get my hands on one of those 2,000 tickets. Because I don't know how they're going about actually delivering out these tickets that Michael Rubin and the Avengers of Philadelphia, I mean, they're getting, it says here, Josh Harris, all of Sixers ownership. I mean, they're really teaming up. They're getting all their pocketbooks together and their brain power together to make sure that they can pack the stadium with Sixers fans. And we're talking about Game 6 in the playoffs.
And it's got to be reiterated, this is not in the kindness of these very wealthy individuals' hearts.
No.
If it was like that, it wouldn't have waited until now to do it. There are plenty of guaranteed games that were going to be in Philadelphia beforehand. a.k.a. games 3 and 4. Where were the bought tickets then?
It wasn't there because they didn't know they had to do that. They didn't know how lousy and pathetic that Sixers fans actually would be in the middle of a playoff run to do that. And if I'm a Sixers fan right now, it shouldn't take that. What it should have taken was seeing what Tyrese Maxey did last night. Seeing the 46 points he poured in, seeing the 7. I mean, he broke a Sixers playoff record for points in a game when trying to stave off elimination. You want to know which guard he passed up on that list?
Who was that?
Allen Iverson.
Ooh.
I was just talking to our teammate in the office here, a big Philadelphia 76ers fan, John O'Terry, and he was like, yo, Maxey might be Iverson. I think, again, we're getting a little hyperbolic.
What, Philadelphia be hyperbolic? What are you talking about?
We're going a little crazy at that point, but that's the kind of show that we have, along with your former MVP and Joel Embiid, who's a shell of himself health-wise, but still he's passing the ball well. He's getting guys involved. I mean, 9 turnovers is bad in an elimination game, but still he's out there making plays, trying his best. But you have that guy at point guard putting on a show like that at MSG. If we see Knicks fans outnumbering or at least out-shouting Sixers fans in Game 6, we're going to have a real serious conversation about Philly fandom, because I'm sick of them beating their chest and acting like they're big, bad, and bold and better than South Florida fans, and you got this going on in the midst of a playoff run, and you wonder why this team can't get over the hump. It's the fans' fault. I'm with Embiid. It's your fault. It's over with.
You've heard of, like, man card? Like, take your fan card.
Yeah.
Like, Philly's not a good sports town anymore. Yeah. I've seen what I've had to see. It's a playoff run. You have a chance of winning this series against another Northeast opponent. How are you struggling to fill up seats?
If look, just like how Kendrick Lamar just took Drake's man card, father card, and black card, we might have to take the Knicks, or not the Knicks, the Sixers fans' fan card. And they could get it back maybe if the Sixers can win this series. They're down 3-2. We'll see what happens in Game 6. The Heat are down right now 3-1. And I was glad to be able to start off with Tyrese Maxey and singing his praises and also clowning Sixers fans and also, a little bit, celebrating the fact that Knicks fans went home sad, because honestly, I'm trying to pre-cope with what might be happening to the Miami Heat tonight. But I will say this, C-Cat, I went on Hard Rock Bet, and this morning I went on Hard Rock Bet, and not only did I put money on the Heat covering, I put money on the Miami Heat, who are a 14-point dog tonight, to win the game. Outright. Money line.
Little sprinkle on the money line.
Little sprinkle on the money line. I'm just feeling a little bit of a vibe. I'm feeling a little bit of a buzz here for the Miami Heat. And maybe it's because I saw what the Bucks did. The shorthanded Bucks did last night, extending their series against those Indiana Pacers. Again, the Heat have a tougher opponent tonight, but they've got the greatest coach in the NBA on the bench in Eric Spoelstra. To spill some more of that Heat culture, we're going to have Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike join us after the break. Evan Cohen will spill some Heat culture, and also I'm going to get on him a bit for not pushing back harder on something that I felt was a little disrespectful that happened on Unsportsmanlike this morning with him, Michelle Smallman, and Chris Canty. Before we get to that, though, I got to tell you about how great it is to be a person that gets lessons at the Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center. The Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center is where I go to tune up my golf game. I'm still a work in progress. When I moved here to South Florida, I caught the golf bug like we all do, right? Like, this is what you do on the weekends. What do we do the Sunday before our first ever Theoretically Speaking, C-Cat? What do we do?
On the links.
Hit the links. And you know what? I was hitting a few of them down the middle of the fairway. I didn't get to – I won't lie to you all and say that my game is tight, but it's getting there. And every single time I go to the Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center, it gets just a little bit better. They have a 2,000-square-foot indoor facility with 3 different hitting bays, ball flight technology, and video replay. They also have a putting green, a driving range, and so much more. The Kaiser University Golf Coaching Center is the place you want to go to tune up your golf game and get right, especially ahead of the summertime. Because, again, when you got an indoor facility as well, that means rain checks. That plays in your favor. The rain ain't going to stop your parade. KaiserGolfCenter.com, KaiserGolfCenter.com. It's at the flagship campus of Kaiser University. When we come back, we got Evan Cohen talking Heat Celtics. Plus, I got a bone to pick with him about something a former Heat player said on his show, on his platform. We'll see what he has to say about that. He's C-Cat. I'm Theo Dorsey. We are Theoretically Speaking on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 1063.